I think everybody's looking for customers. And I'm here to see that business that, okay, well, some business have too many customers. That's why they have wait lists. So that's probably a good kind of problem to have. But customers are, that's the one thing that we're always trying to get. So how do we get customers? I think the first thing is to try and identify the target audience. Because she sells clothes, for instance, right? And she has to decide who she wants to sell to. Because some people will tell you a dress at 5,000 naira is expensive, and somebody else won't buy a dress at 50K because they think it's cheap and it's not quality. So you decide, who do I want to sell to? So I think after you decide who you want to sell to, you also have to decide if you are positioned well enough to attract the kind of person you want to sell to. So earlier today, so we rent items, right? So earlier today, my team and I were deciding, in fashion rentals, we were deciding who our customer was for the supply side of the business. So for the supply side, you have store owners who have inventory, and then you have unsold inventory. So you can convince them that instead of selling, or they've tried to sell it, they've not sell it, you can convince them that you will make more money maybe renting out than selling, right? Another group of people that would make for the good side of the supply side for a fashion rental are celebrities. They have all these things in their wardrobe, and they probably can't wear them more than once, etc. But then, how do you market or target a celebrity? What language do you say? It's probably going to cost us a lot of money, a lot of time and effort trying to convince them to come on the platform, right? You said you're a wardrobe consultant, so you're actually somebody on you're a customer on the demand side, because the platform like ours will help you if you imagine like a movie set, for instance, or a TV program or a shoot or something. Do you understand? So it's first of all deciding who is the customer. Are we positioned well enough to serve these people? If I'm selling 1 billion naira houses, if I say that's what I want to start selling, does my network have people that have that kind of, people that are spending 1 billion naira on houses? Can I reach them? Do you understand? So let's not fool ourselves. Who is the customer? Am I positioned to serve this customer? Then you now go to what does this customer need, and how can I help this customer solve the problem?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Who else wants to take a go?
Alright, evening everyone. So like David said, I'm going to share what has worked for me. Like when I did my introduction, I said I've been doing this for over 8 years. Teaching runs in my blood, and I've practiced what I'm going to share, and it's been working for me. So the first thing, like he mentioned, identify who this customer is. Unfortunately, when you ask business owners who is your customer, they say everybody.
That's an immature business.
Everybody is not your customer. But come to look at it, if everybody is your customer, how many people do we have in Lagos? If they queue up in front of you, do you have the capacity to serve them? It's either you are killing yourself, your staff, and even not able to sell to the customers, and eventually you get negative reviews. So first you identify them. There are different models, there are different formats, there are different, what do I call it? Ways you can actually profile or identify your customer. If you just type online now, you will see it. How to profile your customers, there are different ways, but we will not dive into that. When you identify who these customers are, you need to determine what their pain points are. Okay, you want to start a business. One of the pain points could be what kind of business to start. So the person running that business, okay, let's take Florence as an example. What you will need to identify or discover the pain point of those that want to register their business. Is it that they've tried going through CAC on their own and they couldn't get to the end of getting it registered, or they even walked down there and they met lots of people at the gate trying to help them and maybe they were scammed or something? There must be a pain point. If there is a need, if there is a pain, then you gain by solving the problem. So no pain from the customer, no gain for you that started the business. So when you identify your customers, you discover their pain point, the next thing I will advise is find out where they are, online or offline. It's very interesting the times we are living in. Unfortunately, all of us think we have to be on social media. Yes, we also hear people that say if you're not on social media, you're even getting it wrong. But there are some businesses that their customers are not online. What if that's the kind of business you run? So I will advise, first, identify where your customers hang out, whether online or offline. Then you go to where they are and showcase yourself or your business as the solution they've been looking for. In my business, I have this AEC model that I run. Attract, engage the people you have attracted, and convert them. Unfortunately, we find a lot of business owners on social media, but they don't have a conversion plan. You post and post and post. What do you want to happen at the other end? How are you converting these people? Whether you are running a Telegram group, you are running on Facebook, Instagram, you must have a conversion plan. So my advice is, in all these things we have spoken about, you must have a strategy and you must have a plan. How do you convert? Conversion is what brings money into the business. If you are not converting the customers you are attracting, you are just gathering crowd. That's what I'm saying.
That's nice. So there was something I saw on social media. A young girl, she has over 1 million followers on TikTok, and she decided to host a hangout. She has over 1 million followers. You know, TikTok, they are dancing. So she announced this thing, and people were just hyping her, and not even one single person showed up for that event. You know, but she has over 1 million followers, and that's like what you said. You may have crowd on social media, and you are not converting. They are not customers. You don't have any influence. You know, I think
very humbling. I saw the video. She was actually crying.
What was she selling on TikTok?
So I think TikTok is one of the worst places to actually try to build an audience, because the way TikTok is built is just what we call
It's
fast moving. So that's why even Instagram is getting distracted with the reels they're doing now. We're enjoying reels now. When Instagram decides they will just switch off that thing, but it's because of TikTok. They are afraid of TikTok. That's why they launched the reels. So TikTok is just about quick entertainment. Now.
And I think the target audience on TikTok is very young and probably not spending a lot of spending power.
That's one too.
But for zero people to show up,
like she was starting and for her to even do a video and say, see, I have 1 million and nobody even if it's me, I won't do that kind of video. I'll just run and cry as well.
If you think about it, if you use TikTok, I don't use it that much, but the way people use TikTok, first of all, you can even use TikTok without even creating an account.
Yes.
I just be seeing videos, and then when I open TikTok, it's just showing me videos. I don't have to follow the person. I don't have to know what the person is doing. I just see the videos. So there is no way you can ever build audience there. It's just for.
you can build followers but not audience.
Just for.
You can build followers.
It's just Instagram is better.
But don't you think there are some products that can sell on their platform?
TikTok.
I doubt it.
There are products that can sell on any platform. The way you are talking about TikTok, that's how some people even complain about Facebook. So you must have a plan for these platforms. LinkedIn will not work the way TikTok works. Some people are cleaning out on TikTok, the same TikTok we're talking about. But you must know, you must have what you are selling. Attract the crowd, build an audience by engaging. That's where you educate them about your product or your service and have a plan to convert them. So all the platforms are good. How do you want to use the platform? That's the question you must answer. If I sell programs that's targeted at Gen Zs, I'm on Facebook because I feel like I'm not convert on TikTok, I will sell. I have to find a way of selling on that platform. Just like the way people have issues with Facebook, WhatsApp. People are selling. I have my biggest audience on WhatsApp. So it depends on how you take the platform and milk it for your own sake.
Okay, please, I want to ask a question. I listened to this and it's quite interesting. And I'll start from the point he made. We don't look like bankers. And what I discover is on social media, everybody doesn't look like who they are. So the first question I ask people is, how do you filter out of the billions that are staring at you on Facebook? And I'll take that from a point of view of a friend. I've got a friend who speaks to people, give us speak, shall I give us some student give up? And he has over 1 million followers. And at a point in time, I got to know this because he's in Oshobo, I'm in Lagos, so as bankers, I'm busy. And he continued to tell me, Moshe, do you realize I'm more busy than you? Then I'm wondering, what do? You speak with people, relationship, are you okay? So he got a new house and was supposed to do housewarming, so I had to just go with my family. And I was shocked. I was Shalabia for 3 days. And in 3 days, I'm not exaggerating, 24 hours times 3, 72 hours. I was able to speak with him for less than 4 hours. Because he's moving from one engagement to another engagement. In short, in those 4 hours I speak with him, there was a day I was speaking with him 15 minutes. He showed me a chart of 24 hours. And what he does is speak to people, counsel people about relationships. So the first question I asked in myself, in my brain is, are you saying people have so much relationship problems in Nigeria? Or are you the only person in this world? So what I'm saying in a sense is, we got talking and he was telling me another thing he was doing. And he says, you want to sell a product on Facebook, for example. You have a Facebook manager where you pay to talk to your audience. And the question I ask is, if I'm going to pay per hour, I'm going to pay for 3 hours, I'm going to pay for 5 hours, and I'm going to put out my product, how do I know the people I want to put out the product for? Now I know this product is for young people, let's say Gen Zs. But the question also is what someone mentioned. This is 1 million Gen Zs out of 1 billion on Facebook. How do you know the one that has purchasing power for that product? Because I now know it's Gen Z, I now put them together. And just like we said, the way I see TikTok, I tell people, I only have time for TikTok over the weekends. And the way I see TikTok is, the way TikTok is structured, the video she made, that for God's sake nobody showed you, it's type of the video that shows on TikTok. That she has 1 million followers, and she has actually asked that they do an hangout. And on the day of hangout, nobody showed her. That video, because he said you're not going to them, that video itself will give her probably another 1,000 or 500 people who will follow her because of that video. So it's another thing entirely. So the whole thing I want to ask is for the experts around you. I'm talking as an individual because, of course, the way I work as a banker, when it's 5:30 now, I'm no more a banker until Monday again. Until I'm that person entirely. So let me give you an example. You walk into a community, probably on Instagram. I'll probably not put on my Instagram and that I'm a banker. You want to sell suit to me. You probably see that all the pictures on my Instagram, over 700 of them, none of it I'm wearing a suit. Because I have to maintain what I call a dual personality. I want a personality. In short, most of us who are in the corporate world will also maintain another name on Instagram. Because of course you are ambassador of the corporate brand you're working for. So you don't probably want to bear the same name you bear on Instagram, the same name on LinkedIn, the same name in the office. Because you don't actually have freedom. I got a policy about 5 days ago in the office. The trader was on Monday. We trained and said, look, politics is coming around and you are not allowed to meddle into politics. How do you stop an obedient child from meddling? And how do you stop a batified man from meddling? So I have another point. So what that means is the real me that actually want suits, that actually want corporate shoes, that actually want tie, and I want them seriously. If you go on Facebook, you cannot identify, you cannot connect with the real me. If you go on Instagram, you cannot connect with the real me. The only thing that you can connect with the real me is the LinkedIn. And of course, I tell you, in LinkedIn also, I also filter what I do in my corporate world to the ones that I think it's okay for you. So the question is to the expert. When you go into Facebook, when you go into Instagram, when you go into Telegram, how do you filter? Because the me you see on social media is different from the real me. And if you sell to me what those on social media are interested in, I will probably know that. And if you want to sell to me what I actually need, you probably will never think about me. Because I'm a different me entirely.
I think it's example that the train themselves or the potential customer, right? So in your case now, if you wanted to buy a shoe and you wanted to maybe search on Instagram, you are not. So it's not the customer, the seller looking for you now. It's you looking for it.
That's exactly where I'm going to. Because I have to now go and buy shoes, corporate shoes, most times because I discovered that because of the lifestyle I live on Instagram, if I reel through for 3 hours, I might not see anything I want to buy. I probably see a Timberland, I probably see a Balenciaga, I probably see something that suits my lifestyle. So really, when I want a suit, I need to go and type suit.
Exactly.
So I'm the
So
one.
so the question would then be, who do you find? As a business owner, do you get found by customers? Do you have content that's convincing enough so that when the customers search, they find you? Right? Because you're taking it from the customer's point of view. The business side point of view is, what is your stand on social media? Are you well positioned on social media so that when customers are searching for you, they find you?
Okay, so that's exactly where I want to go to. So I learned that for you who are you are selling on the something, you need to put likely hashtags on your post.
Yes.
So when you are selling anything fashion, you put hashtag corporate shoes, hashtag suits. And so for me, when I'm finding you, once I put corporate shoes, it takes me to that hashtag. So that's exactly the lesson I just learned from the customer, because I was speaking with a customer. You know, it's always very difficult. We want to go into the SME space. In the SME space, to truth today, from the researches I've actually done, I had a research yesterday with the World Bank, research meeting with the World Bank yesterday. The bulk of those who want to buy in the SME space are the Gen Zs and millennials. The bulk of those who are actually doing business in that space are also the Gen Zs and millennials. And you'll be shocked the way they do their businesses. I have a staff I just recruited. What we did in my bank is we just recruited some millennial and Gen Z and said, come and sit down. Because you know these people, you know how to talk to them. So she's called Miss Stainless on Instagram. And she tells me this: Moshood, this phone pouch is cost 500 naira. And just like someone said, if I put it on it for 500 naira, they would not buy. They know it's 500 naira. So I put it on it for the Gen Z for 2,500. You want him or her to buy. Once the person buys, you need to post a testimonial and say this person bought from here and he bought it at 2,500. Because one of the reasons the person is buying is not just because he wants a phone case. He wants that validation to tag with him that I bought the one for 2,500. Irrespective of when the person talks to you. So while I was talking to a customer, he was trying to tell me, look, Moshood, I understand what you're saying perfectly well. So for every time I'm posting, I'm actually faced with the problem of what are the things what are things that relate to this people will search if they want to search. So I put as many hashtags as possible. So immediately you put that hashtag, it just takes you back to that place. And that's exactly how it is. Because what I've discovered, the SME space is evolving, and I can tell you specifically with the meeting I held yesterday. In short, we are doing better in SME in Nigeria than any part of the continent. Not America, not US. Because look, we've discovered that there's a lot of creativity here, both on the side of the seller and the side of the buyer. So we are really, because one of the things we're asking is, look, would you expose us to what is happening in the developed world? And the gentleman laughed and he said, look, I'm an American. When I came to Nigeria, I've been in Nigeria in the last 17 years. And I talk and I see the way SMEs behave in Nigeria. I think we have a lot to learn from you, know you learning from us. Because
He's one guy.
so you just have to think out the lot.
You have to bring that
It's the truth.
If you don't have what you're looking
You know, because they the developed world, they have so many things structured for
Social
them.
security,
We don't
you
have,
don't sell,
we
you
don't
still
have,
eat. But a man that wakes up every day, he looks like just
You don't know where money is
normal
coming from.
African proverb that says, you wake up in the desert in Kenya, there is a gazelle,
I don't like
there's a
that.
lion. I enjoy it so much.
I understand the meaning they said behind it, but I always tell my daughter, for instance, that the way they portray Nigeria is madness. You saw coming to America, they saw Eddie Murphy walking with an elephant. I said, we mad. We walk like that. What kind of nonsense? I was so angry when I saw it. So that proverb, I understand what it means, but when you wake up in Africa, it's lion chasing you. But I get what you mean. But I'm always angry. Like, I want that now.
Look,
I don't walk with elephant on the road.
But I will tell you this.
So you go on Quora, they'll be asking you, do you have internet? And are you mad?
I will agree with you, but this is what I will tell you, and this is what I tell everyone. Now, I think it's 5:30, so I'm not a banker anymore, and I'll tell you what I tell you. The problem is a lot of producers in America, a lot of producers in Hollywood, they've not been to Nigeria. So there are two ways.
Africa is a country.
Africa, yes. And there are two ways they get what they do, their impression. And the same way, we get our own impression. For Africans, what we pull out there is what they try to imagine. So we watch African movies, African short video, African short clips, that is what you portray. So when they want to think, they just go there. They don't want to come to Africa. They're afraid to come to Africa. They're afraid to So they see what you've actually done and replicate it anytime they want to talk about Africa. Ironically, for some of us who are opportune to go out of this country, I tell people I will never leave this country. Look, don't do Japan for me, Canada. myself, my wife, my kids, I will not go. Because a lot of things we also think is happening there is what they painted. They painted the very good part of that country for us, and they put it out there. We painted the very ugly part and put it out there.
Yeah.
Nobody will want to do, even all of us sitting down here now, if they tell you that, imagine in your mind and write a script of a short video of what happened in Lagos. The first thing that goes to you is Oshodi, Molwe, these are blah, blah, blah. Nobody thinks about what happens in Okoyi, Banana Island. There's a resort somewhere. There's this.
What happened there?
Even those that knows what happened.